Okay, and welcome back to Broke Review HQ. And we are in episode 5 Nano of our Turtles 2003 rewatch. And, well, I guess first time watch because I have never watched it. So we've got our first filler episode of this one because this one does not connect to really anything that previously happened. The only thing that we really get is just characters meeting. But other than that, it is basically a filler episode. So let's go through. You know what? I'm just gonna tell you what I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a C+. Now, to hear why I gave it that, let's continue watching and go through and see what the pros and cons are of this. So the episode starts off in this laboratory. We don't know where it is. We have no idea if it's connected to, Stockman or anything else. It's just this laboratory where these nanobots are at, and this lady's trying to figure out, if these nanobots can create something, and apparently they have the mind of a child, and they just keep making simple objects and just wanting to be loved, apparently, which this lady apparently hates this. She doesn't like that they're just acting like small child and wants to eradicate this glitch, I guess she says it is. So, ends up leaving because she's dealing with herself with a headache, and obviously these nanobots aren't making that headache any better. So she leaves the room, which sounds like a great idea because I can't see how these nanobots will go wrong. I don't see how this could go wrong at all. So the nanobots end up rebuilding themselves after she destroyed the machine that they were kind of put. So basically they put themselves together into this machine to walk, and then she destroyed it. They ended up putting themselves back together and making a drill to get out of there, which, where is the security? How did these nanobots basically get out without anybody realizing it? And then no one seemed to come after them at all through this whole episode, so that seemed very weird. So the nanobots keep going on, and they end up running into this guy who's selling cheap toys, obviously a hustler, who has this guy buy this toy for this kid, and the thing destroys within 3 seconds. Black market type crap here, you're gonna get what you're paying for $3, you're gonna get a piece of crap toy, and that's what they got. So the nanobots run into him, basically think this is their dad, and instead of being freaked out, this guy kind of takes advantage of it and kind of tricks them into thinking yes, I'll be your dad if you break into this this jewelry store so I can take all the diamonds and stuff from myself. And so they go and do that, ends up adopting the nanobots, essentially, and making them their own. The turtles end up heading over to April's because she's opening up her dad's antique shop, which I will say that's consistent from the 1990 movie, which is kind of crazy that I don't know if that's a thing in the comics or not, because obviously she's a reporter for most of it, but she ends up, in the movie getting her, running her dad's shop. Well, she lives there. She doesn't actually open it up really much. So in this one, she's actually opening it up until she can find a job, which is also a nice little place for the turtles to go to. Instead of being at home, they can also go to April's. So they bring Casey, and Casey and April meet for the first time. And, well, for April anyway, the sparks fly, but Casey is very oblivious, like every guy most likely would be if he runs into a pretty girl. Has no idea that the girl's into him because he's a complete idiot. So they end up hitting it off in a weird way where they just start fighting all the time, because that is consistent, where they are always fighting with each other and always have problems with each other. So as they're doing all that, helping April move stuff around, getting it all ready to open it up without destroying almost everything that she has, the nanobots, finally get, into the jewelry store. They end up robbing the place, makes the guy happy. He basically adopts the nanobots as his kid, essentially. April asks the turtles and Casey to spend the night because, well, that jewelry store was down the street from her, and she's worried that, with the robberies that have been going on, she doesn't want her store to be next. So she wants the turtles and Casey to be there to help in case something does go wrong. Well, of course it does go wrong, because as the guy's walking by the store, he ends up seeing something that he likes, a pinky ring. Of all things, a pinky ring is the thing that draw this guy to April's store. So they end up going in there, and the nanobots get a mask, which ends up helping them express, what they're feeling, and help this guy understand what the nanobots are basically feeling and kind of saying in a weird way. So Casey runs into him because the turtles are passed out, great ninjas and great security there. But Casey ends up running into him, finding out that he can't really do this because the nanobots are damn pretty strong, because they end up attaching themselves to the car that was right on the street and getting themselves a little bit bigger. So Casey can't really do anything to beat that. Like, he's basically outmatched at this point. So the turtles finally wake up, end up hearing that. They head into action, try to figure out what this is and try to defeat it, and they're getting their butts kicked here. Like, they are having a hard time. And I don't know if this is, like, technically their first loss, because, I mean, I know they were dealing with the Mousers and stuff, but I mean, would this be another L for them? Because, like, they don't win this fight. They end up losing this. Granted, they were able to burn a piece off of it, and it ends up just the nanobots take the guy and they run away. So, I mean, I don't know essentially if that's a win or a loss, because it's still intact, but they still got themselves beat at the same time. So Donnie's looking at it, trying to figure out what they really are, figuring out that they are nanobots, and also figuring out that they multiply, so they're just creating more and more, and they can eventually go crazy, or they can go out of control because they keep just multiplying more and more and more, which, I mean, who would have thought that was going to happen? Not me, that's for damn sure. I didn't see this coming whatsoever. I basically did not see this coming at all. Nanobots in a freaking secret lab that nobody knows about, and basically all they want is a dad. Like, I can't see this going wrong at all. So, they try to figure out some way to be able to defeat them, and try and figure out which they figure out, fire is the best way to destroy them. They can't take the heat, which that should be the plan right there. But they end up figuring out, like, how to track them down. So they go and track them down to where the garbage is, like, this dump that the guy is at. And the guy's like, hey, I don't know what those Martians are, or if they're from the same place that you came from, but if they're here to come and get you, we should book it out of here, kid. Like, you're my golden ticket. We need to stick together. So they decide that they need to leave, but the turtles end up running into them. And so the nanobots, wanting to protect their dad, decided to fight the turtles, and have this big scrap, in the scrapyard here, managing to absorb more garbage and stuff to build up and make them basically a Transformer-size like thing. And the turtles trying to do what they can, figuring out, their first plan is destroy it before it can get, put itself back together, slice it up basically enough to where it can't rebuild itself fast enough. Well, that plan doesn't go well, and it almost seems like you didn't really think about this. Like, it feels like they went into this without an actual plan. Because that first plan seems stupid, because you've seen that they can just rebuild real quickly, and then you only sliced off an arm, and then you did nothing and just watched it basically grow the arm back. Like, it just reattached its arm. So that plan was stupid. Then they try running away from it and try to lead it into, like, the car smasher. I don't know the technical term of it, but basically where the car's in the dump, they take it to the crusher and make it into that square block. So they try doing that as their second plan, which also seemed like it was on the fly. So they do that thinking, okay, we finally beat them, this is it. You know how to beat them. This isn't how you beat them. Like, you know what you have to do. Doing that's not going to beat them. So, obviously, the nanobots managed to come back up and rebuild themselves, because being crushed into a box wasn't going to defeat them. It just compacted them for a minute. And with them being able to duplicate and make more of themselves, obviously crushing them wasn't going to be the case. So, and that plan ends up failing. They end up trying to figure out plan C, which is to use the metal crane that basically picks up the cars, is to basically, lead the nanobots to that, and pick them up with that and then drop them in the flames. Which, I just want to say, you had the plan. Donnie told you right away that these things are acceptable, you know, they cannot handle heat. So that should have been the plan right there. Throw it into the flames. I don't understand why that was plan C. Did you think that the first two plans were going to go well? Because they really didn't, and it seemed like you guys went in there with no plan. So, the guy ends up getting sad. He sees that the turtles are beating up his little boy, and so as he goes to go and save it, he kind of actually ends up dooming it, which by turning the power off, it ends up actually dropping him into this, you know, into the fire, basically, and melting them, which I don't know if that was the turtles' plan, because if that was, they sure took their sweet time lowering him into there. I don't know if they were just doing it to just lift him up and then figure it out from there, which seems like a bad idea, because I feel like it would have just controlled the crane, and then you would have been more screwed. So if it wasn't for this guy, it almost felt like you guys wouldn't have had a good plan at all. So he ends up dropping it in there, being sad, and hangs onto one of the masks, thinking, like, kid, you were my, like, lucky way to get out of my, you were my big break, basically. And, like, you could see that he was actually sad. Whether it was more so he was sad because, like, he just lost his golden goose, or because he actually did start building a relationship with the nanobots, you know, that he actually started seeing them as, like, a kid in his way. So he ends up getting busted. The turtles head back to April's place because Casey had to sit out because he was injured, which, great, glad we brought Casey in just for him to get sidelined right away. And him and April are bickering like they will most likely do in the future. And then, yeah, that was it. Nothing that led off into, you know, another episode or anything like that, you know. So, I don't know if, like, those first 4 episodes were all basically, you know, one arc, and now we got a filler episode, and I don't know if we're going to get more filler episodes, and then get a new arc in the season, but, yeah. So, obviously, you heard why I gave it a C+. The pros, Casey and April meet for the first time, which the pieces are coming together. We're slowly getting them. Obviously, the turtles still have not met Shredder, so they don't know the big bad yet and what they're going to be going up against. But we do get Casey and April, and it's fine. You know, they do exactly what we thought. You know, it's a slow burn relationship that they'll end up being together. We know that's going to happen. I like that the turtle lost their fight to the bots. I liked that they needed to, you know, they got, I don't know, I wouldn't even essentially say they got beat, but they didn't really win, because the thing was still going and they still didn't defeat it. So I like that they still didn't, like, win, but it made them like, okay, we gotta strategize and figure out how we're gonna beat this and what we need to do to defeat this. And then I kind of liked the guy and the nanobots relationship. I liked that it kind of was like a father-son relationship. As weird as it was, like, and at times you could probably tell it was just him only loving them bots because they were basically his golden goose. But the fact that, like, all these bots knew were just pain and torture because the lab wanted them to be a certain way, and this guy just appreciated them for what they were. Granted, took advantage of them for, you know, his benefit to steal stuff, but he still treated them better than what the lab people did. So, in a weird way, I liked that relationship. The cons, it just seemed like, how did no one pay attention to these bots? Why would you leave a room with these smart, intellectual bots, and then they got free, and then they just could keep upgrading? Like, no one realized what they could do, and that if they got free, it could be, you know, disastrous, like, in the wrong hands. Like, did nobody think about this at all? How do you not have security measures, or that when you're not in there, maybe have them shut off so they can't do anything when no one's watching? Like, that seemed really stupid. A minor one, the turtles had, like, no plan going into the final fight with the nanobots. Like, yes, they had supposedly plan A, B, and C, but they had a plan. Like, they had a better plan. You know, their plan was to burn them. They said, okay, they can't handle the heat. So I don't know what happened there that got it all screwed up, where they completely forgot about that, and then it was basically the guy who saved the day because he accidentally dropped them into the flames. Like, I don't understand what the hell happened there. Like, how did you not come up with that first? You know, if it was one thing, okay, let's chop the limbs off and throw it in the flames, burn it, melt it. That would make sense. But that wasn't your plan. Your freaking first plan was just to chop it so that it couldn't rebuild. When then you watched it rebuild. So, I mean, I don't know. And then it was to crush it was the second plan. So plan C was the plan that you should have done. And you still didn't even do it when you had the chance. So I don't know what they were thinking. And then, obviously, this is a filler episode. It doesn't... I mean, it might come back later. The nanobots might be, you know, captured by Stockman or by Shredder or something. I don't know if they will play. But right now, it's just a filler episode. It kind of doesn't do anything. It was okay. It was fine. Nothing great other than Casey and April meeting, getting the pieces to get together. But, yeah, like I said, C+. It was okay. You know, we haven't really had any bad episodes, but I feel like we haven't had a lot of good episodes either. They've been very mid so far. I'm not judging it off of that. Obviously, the season could get better as it goes on. And for it being a first season, I'm not going to judge it too hard because they're still testing the waters. They're trying to figure out what works, what will, you know, what will be good. So, yeah, but yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, it's okay. It's been an okay season so far. Nothing crazy or anything like that. There's been good moments. There's been bad, but 5 episodes in, and I feel like we've had more mid episodes than we've had good, which is fine. I'd rather have mid than have bad episodes and have it a struggle to get through. It has not been a struggle to get through. It's just, it feels like there's not been a lot going on. So, yeah. So, that was episode 5, Nano. And I believe on Saturday, the Naked Gun review will be out. So, check that out as well. I have been appreciating all the love you guys have been giving. It's been very nice to see that. It's slowly building here. I'm appreciating that. And as long as you guys keep coming to the party, I'll keep bringing the party here. So, next week we'll see what episode 6 brings us in this Turtles Watch. And I'm hoping for some positives, you know. It's been okay so far. It's been an okay season. I'm hoping that as the season grows, it just keeps getting better and better. As long as we don't get any horrible episodes. Like, I don't want to go on a streak of, like, you know, bad ones where we get a bunch of D's and stuff like that and close to F's. Like, let's not do that. Let's just stay mid and get better. So, I got high hopes, but thanks for watching. If you like, let me know what shows you want to see done. I have no problem tackling any as long as I can watch them. I know some stuff's hard to watch and hard to get all the episodes, so if you got a show you want me to watch or even a movie, I will check it out, put it in the comments. Also, let me know what you thought about this episode and what you think of the season so far. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think I'm crazy for it? I want to hear your opinions because your opinions could easily change how I'm rewatching it. You know, see if maybe I see something different or maybe pay attention to something else. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.